Welcome back, comic book fans, and welcome back to the channel. Every week, a flood of comics hits the shelves, and it can be tough to decide what to pick up. But don't worry, that's what I'm here for. We're about to dive in to this week's releases to crown one book the comic of the week. Will it be an epic superhero showdown, a mind-bending indie darling, or maybe a hilarious new series that everyone has been talking about? I've read a stack of them, and I've got some strong opinions. So stick around to the very end to see which comic earned the top spot and why you absolutely need to add it to your collection. Feel free to drop your own picks in the comments below. I'd love to see what you're reading. So, let's get into it. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more comic book reviews every week. Welcome back, comic book friends, to my weekly comic book review and figuring out which one is my number one comic book of the week. And you know, there is still a couple comic books I haven't gotten to that I want to this week, but there's only so much time. So let's jump in. And before I do, remember to stick to the end to see what my number one book is this week. And does it match yours? Let me know in the comments section below. The first one I want to talk about is Justice League Red, number 6. It has 197 ratings, 3.3 score on League of Comics Geeks, which they use a 5-point scale. I use a 10-point scale. I gave it a 7, so I was right around the same as them. Yeah, here's the thing. The writer is Salman Ahmad, artist is Clayton Henry. And this is the conclusion to this series here, to this mini-series, if you will, with the Red Tornado. And the Red Tornado is compromised. And will the team be able to stop him? Yes, of course. But as usual, the comic writers have to let their politics slip in. There's a person in it that mentions Filipinos eat dogs, as a Trump thing. Well, just so you know, actually do your research into that and you come up with your own conclusion on that. But those, I hate to say it, they love to throw in their politics. And I've had my view on that before. I said politics are fine in comic books because it happens. But I think they should try to remain neutral and show both sides. And they hardly ever do when it comes to comic book writers. Let's be honest. They skew so hard left, they go full circle. Right? The heroes here have to overcome their fear, their shame, if you will, which it was okay. I'm just not a fan of this villain, the Crimson Cloud, either. So that makes it the end of this story arc with really, I think it landed like a wet fart. It just didn't do well. I gave it a 7. The story arc is over, the mini-series is over, and it needs to be at this point. I think it was a missed opportunity. Let's look at a couple other people quickly. Here is a 3.5 star. This mini was something. At the end of the day, it's a pretty forgettable story. Yeah, I'm gonna stop there. That was enough. I agree there. Here's a 3 star. Fairly average ending to a book that didn't find its footing until it's too late. See, there's the problem. It didn't really ramp up, didn't get enough to really make anybody care about this. And I think that's the problem. There's not enough care. Why would you care enough to get this book? I don't know. Didn't do it for me. Now let's talk about Justice League Unlimited, number 15, with 545 ratings, 3.5 score, very positive on League of Comics Geeks, and I gave it a 7.2. Not quite as high, and that's pretty usual for me. Writer's Mark Waid, artist is Dan Mora. I thought the cover wasn't that appealing on this. There is some other covers that are better than that, but it really is a bit of a mix in that regard. We have the fall of all these alternate universe superheroes in this one. And Mr. Terrific's the only one that gets to the end of it, and well, we'll see how that ends up. We get Airwave returning in this. If you're an Airwave fan, I could care less about him, but I don't hate him either as a character. So we have an ultimate Superman that was robbed of his hope, and he sacrifices himself. Hawkman falls into a trap. Batman Beyond dies and goes to the great beyond. Batman Beyond, a little humor there. But as I said, Mr. Terrific's the only one that makes it to the final boss, Neuron. But things don't go still as planned there. The twist at the end is pretty good. I'm not a huge fan of the story arc, but you know what? It's not turning me off, making me go, I don't want to continue reading this. So let me know your thoughts on that one below. I would really like to hear them and see what you think about this series, as well as people on League of Comic Geeks. I'm seeing a lot of 4 and 5 stars, so I don't see anything that's really jumping out. Oh, wait, here we go, 3 star. I really like the beginning of this issue, and this issue as a whole has a ton of good parts for the money, just don't meld together well. Okay, Prime looks kind of wonky. Yeah, we do get Prime in this. I I agree. I don't think the art was the greatest in this book. Prime's an interesting thing with the Prime Redemption arc. If you aren't reading it, check him out definitely in Superman to get more information there. Next, let's shift gears into Marvel with the Infernal Hulk #3 with 440 ratings, a 4.2, very positive score on Leah Comics Geeks. You know what? I gave it a 7.6. That's pretty strong as well. Writers Philip Kennedy Johnson, pencilers Kev Walker. Yep, in this issue you get some Iron Man, by the way. Yeah, we get some other characters too, like Mr. Fantastic. Yeah, because, well, we're looking into here of what happened to Bruce and Betty. And we're getting more into that and finding out, you know, as we know, Bruce got separated, but what's going on there? How's it going? And what's happening is Betty is really a mental mess. She's really struggling being normal again, which is an interesting thing there. And Bruce is trying to keep their life together without the Hulk, giving them a normal life, but she just can't handle it mentally. Will the Hulk come back to defeat the Infernal Hulk? Well, I think it's sort of obvious he's going to have to, because things are happening here. Does he still have the Hulk in him? You know, I think this is a solid issue, especially if you want something, you know, continuing in this vein of darkness. And I'm looking at the other reviews, and there's lots of 5 stars, 4.5, but I did find a 3-star. For me, better than the first 2. It's clear there's a story here, and that we're going to slow down and tell it to those of us who didn't read the previous run. And that's a key too. If you didn't read the previous run of Hulk, you're going to probably need some additional insight here. So they're going to have to sprinkle that in so people have a clue what the heck is going on here. Things about why Hulk and Bruce are separated are covered, and a tiny bit more about Eldest is shared. And I think they need that, as I said, for all the new readers. Otherwise, they would be completely lost. I do see a 2-star here. It says, this is just really bad, nonsensical decision that they did with Bruce and Betty. Okay, I don't get that. I'm not going to agree with that. This person doesn't think it makes any sense. But you know what? That's my thoughts. I'm enjoying the run, though I do like some classic Hulk too. I am enjoying this. Are you checking this out? If you are, I really would like to know. Are you checking out? Are you enjoying it? As I said, I gave it a 7.6. That's a pretty darn strong score for me. 7 is normal for me. Let's shift gears again to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Casey Jones, #4. 68 ratings, a 4.0 score, and that makes me a little bit sad. I think 68 ratings, usually the more ratings means more sales you'll see in this book. So this book needs some more sales. Come on, I gave this book a 7.6. That's strong for me. The writer is Alex Pacanendo. The artist is Mency Newfound, which, once again, I butcher these. The cover's pretty cool right off the start. There's some open order covers that are decent. Or I should say it's really only one open order cover. And so we have more continuation to this story with that we have the powered up Casey Jones, because he took the Nostrum because he was gonna die if he didn't, and he took that. There's good art throughout this issue too, but the very drug Nostrum that Casey took to save him is also messing with him mentally, making him mentally unstable. And I know that's a bit cliche, but here's the thing. I'm enjoying this. I haven't been reading the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, so I'm learning a lot more about their universe now. I mean, I remember them years ago, but I guess a lot of things have changed. And so this is good story progression too. And it makes me think that maybe, just maybe, they have a character here that could carry his own story. I mean, sure, it needs to intermingle with the Turtles and things in the backstory, but couldn't he be his own carrying character to carry his own solo title? What do you think? Could he? What do you think there? I'd like to know. I'd definitely say keep April O'Neil in the series. She's been in it and needs to be Raphael's the main turtle that's in it too as well. I'm looking at other reviews. It's got a lot of 4 stars. Here's a 3-star. I really don't love the writing in this series, and Casey himself is annoying, but Ludwig is getting more and more interesting. So there's that. His portion of the issue was cool. Great cover. Yeah, that's this tiger or whatever that was transferred. He doesn't want to become back to being just a regular tiger. He wants to be human. And I think that's an interesting dynamic in this story. Another one says Casey's development is incredibly predictable. To compensate, Ludwig becomes more interesting every issue. So it seems like that character is starting to become... I get it, though. I mean, really seeing that issue with that character fighting hard, doesn't want to revert, doing everything can is a cool thing, right? Another one, the blue stuff made this book interesting to me. Casey has roid rage. This book is not as good as the Shredder's miniseries, still worth it for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle lovers, though. I don't know. I haven't read the Shredder series. Have you? Is it something you should be checking out? I don't have any issue with this issue. Have any issue with this issue? Get the pun there. But anyway, if you like Turtles, this is probably a good one for you. We're still not quite to my best book so far that I've read this week, but we're getting to a strong one here with Superman number 34. 723 ratings, 4.0 score on League of Comics Geeks. Very positive. You know what? I gave it a strong 7.4. The writer is Joshua Williamson, penciler Eddie Barrows. I will say I don't think the main cover is anything special, but there are some really good other covers available for this book. And here we go. Darkseid's plan has worked. Earth has been transformed into Apocalypse. Yeah, his Dark Legion prepares the Earth for his imminent arrival. While Superman is locked in that tournament, who can stand up to defeat them? Well, that's what we get in this issue. This is a DC knockout tie-in issue. Superman Prime is definitely on a redemption arc here, and I like that. I really do. He's going through, he's learning, he's becoming more like Superman. The interior art, I think, is solid. I like it better than the cover here. It's a pretty good issue, but at the end, Prime gets pissed. And will he revert back to his old ways? That's going to be interesting to see. I'm looking at other people's reviews, and I'm seeing lots of 4 and 5 star reviews. Here we go. I found a 3. I really like the beginning of this issue, and the issue as a whole has a ton of good parts for me. They just don't meld well together. Prime looks kind of wonky in this art, but everything else I really like. I didn't think he looked wonky, but okay. I like the few moments of depth we get for the Alpha Legion, and I love that Williamson included my GOAT, Pharaoh Lad, in the statue lineup. But I really think that, and then it goes on, let's see here, I gotta click read more, sorry about that. There we go. But I really think this issue could have, see, I gotta read this as they are, but I really think this issue could have get some stuff out, or could have been longer. They didn't make a lot of sense there, but okay. Yeah, you get that sometimes, how people write, right? You have to decipher what they're saying here. But otherwise, mostly really good scores here. I'm going to look at this 4.5 star here. Prime example of Williamson delivering another great issue. Superboy Prime shines in Superman 34. I think this issue does both a great job at delivering a tie-in story and focusing on what's happening outside of the knockout tournament. So there you go. If you're following DC, you enjoy Superman, you like Superman Prime, definitely check out this book. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. All right, we're near the end here where I reveal my top comic book of the week, but here's the thing. I have a tie. One DC, one Marvel. First, let's talk about my book of the week for DC, and that's Green Lantern number 31. 213 ratings, 3.7, mostly positive score. I gave the book a 7.8. Yeah, writers Jeremy Adams, artist is Zovlio Pizarro Montpellier, which, once again, brutalized. The cover isn't anything really special on this issue. There is some better other covers available too as well. One of the things that makes this book great right from the start is that it's guest starring Barry Allen. Come on, whenever you get Hal Jordan and Barry Allen together, you get something good, right? Barry Allen is wanted, dead or alive, but they prefer him dead, right? But they're going to have to get through Hal first. Yep. You see, Barry has uncovered some things. He's got to testify. It's sort of a cliche story. And Green Lantern has to come save the day. If you forgot, though, that Barry Allen does not have powers right now. So that's what makes it interesting. And then we get some sharing of Hal Jordan and what's going on with him. So the Bob is out, I said, to kill Barry. Can Hal save him? So that way they can convict the felon. Can they get him to court on time? Well, there you go. Now, there's an interesting thing here. The Bob sends this character, Bruno, to get Barry. And for some reason to me, let me know if you've seen it too. He looks like Mr. Fix-It from Marvel. You don't know who Mr. Fix-It is? Get your Marvel history in there. That's the Gray Hulk version. It just really looks like that. Suit and all. We get some good story development here too with Hal's current problem. It seems like Barry gives him more insight than any of the other heroes that he's came to so far to help them. And as I said before, anytime you get a good old GL Flash reunion, even if he doesn't have power, I'm enjoying it. But you know what? Not everybody agrees with me. Let's look at this 1.5 star review here. This issue was not my cup of tea. Hal Jordan was dealing with visions he's received from the Book of Oa, and so far he's reached out to Green Arrow and Batman for assistance, so it makes sense that he'd also seek out Barry Allen to help too. And in a bit of a kismet timing, Barry was in desperate need for some Green Lantern help himself. Now, see, I think that's good. I have no issue with that. So let's look at their cons. I'm going to skip their pros and go to their cons because they gave it a really low score. The timing makes zero sense. Okay, I don't agree there. Another one is after Hal shows up, Barry tells him he's going to be late to the hearing where he's set to testify against a mob guy. It makes sense why he's going to be late. Look what happened to him. He gets abducted pretty much by these cops are dirty and they're going to take him away. Another one, why is he going to a safe house 2 hours ago if he's scheduled to testify now? Why not to a safe room in the courthouse? That one I got to give them. That makes sense. Why are they taking to a safe house? Maybe because they think it'll be unpredictable. I don't know. Another one, if Barry was meant to go to the courthouse to testify today, why wasn't his evidence already with him? You know what? This person's selling me. This makes sense too. You're making too much sense there, right? Another one, Monto's art just didn't do it for me. Okay, fair enough. Another one, only things I liked in Monto's art was illustrations of Green Lantern, his costume and mask. Okay, another one. All other human characters, backgrounds, vehicles. So he didn't like the art. All right, now let's go to the hired muscle. He mentions him. The villain's name, Bruto, isn't very memorable. Okay, I get that. It's not. I found myself reading it to make sure I read it right, and I keep wanting to change it to Bluto. Ah, good Popeye reference there, right? Yeah. And what are Bluto's abilities? Get it? I call him Bluto there. Is he an alien or metahuman? I don't know. Why is his skin gold? Is it just a color or is it actually metal? Well, they can't make it gray. I hope you get the point there. This person, I have to admit, brought up some really good points. While I don't agree with their score on the book, they did bring up some solid points of why they would give it a lesser score. Here's another one, 2-star. Are we even sure we're writing about Hal Jordan, Mr. Adams? This kind of attitude is only acceptable in one-shots. Now, I don't agree. Sometimes you need a book that just takes away from a little bit, and it's not a one-shot. It still ties into the series. So I don't have as many issues there. And then really, this one's got a diverse set of views here. It's got a lot of 5 stars. I really like this run. The art is gorgeous. That's another one that completely contradicts the other one. So really, this one is all over the place, which just makes it weird that it's one of my number one DC pick. Matter of fact, number one picks being weird. You ready? My number one pick for Marvel. This one shocked me too. Iron Man number 1, 1,197 ratings with a 4.0 score on League of Comics Geeks, and I gave this also a 7.8. The reason I find it so shocking is that Iron Man has not been very good lately. Let's be honest. It's been mid-tier at best and horrible, absolutely garbage at worst with what they've done to this character, being adopted and all the other garbage they've done with him. So I did not have high hopes for this book, but I think people have been wanting good Iron Man because, look at the ratings. Well, it is number 1. We'll see how many hold on to number 2. And the writer's Joshua Williamson. Good job. Artist Carmen Carnero. And we start off here with Iron Man that's, full of himself, energetic. It fits well. We have a new story here. So if you've been wanting some good Iron Man, this is probably a good place to start. AIM is trying to get their own Stark level genius person, and it's diabolical. And that's what we get here. We're going to get that they're poaching these brilliant people, putting them in scenarios. If it doesn't work out, well, they're going to die. Okay. Pepper Pot gets salty. Get it? Pepper Potts gets salty. Hot salt and pepper. She gets salty in this issue. They made contingency plans. The heroes have. And they made contingency plans that have maybe been discovered by AIM. So Tony has, I said heroes, but Tony made these contingency plans and this is where I could get maybe some people, this is a Batman thing, right? Because Tony made contingency plans against all the heroes just in case, just like Batman did. We get that. Now AIM, they believe maybe has that. I can see a problem there. The last page of this issue though, shows you that something's up here. It's setting up something possibly very big. I think it's a good art, and this story is off to a good start. So if you've been craving some Iron Man, you're going to get some interesting things here. And plus we get a classic villain, Blizzard, right at the beginning to open it up with a little bit of action. I think it's great. You get Madame Mask, Melinda May in this, Pepper Potts, Captain America's in this a little bit. But let's look at some other people here. 4.5 star, an enjoyable read, even for non-Iron Man fans. I'm not the biggest fan of Iron Man. And aside from his crossover appearances in Fall of X and Jerry Duggan's West Coast Avengers, which is outstanding, by the way, I have not been keeping tabs on the Golden Avenger. He simply just doesn't click with me. which is also the case with many of the Avengers for some reason. Ah, shame on you. I had to give this first issue a shot because I love his work over in the Energon universe. And indeed, this book is nearly as enjoyable as his G.I. Joe run. It has great action scenes, fast-paced dialogue, and compelling main plot, an intriguing bigger story arc setup. And I also believe that Williamson has an excellent handle on both Marvel, Iron Man, and Madam Mask, presumably the big villain of this run. And see, I'm agreeing there. I think this one is doing very well in that regard. I'm continuing to scroll through, but here's somebody that doesn't agree with the 2-star. I'm something of a fan of Iron Man. If a communist can be a fan of a demented capitalist yuppie, needless to say, I have expectations going in. So they're a communist person here? Okay. Fair enough. Iron Man can and has been used to great political and existential effect, from Tony nearly losing himself to alcohol to Tony nearly losing himself from isolation and morphine. Okay, so I didn't say they were the most original stories. I'm trying. Okay, this person continues to go on, blah, 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 blah. You see, Tony's different from all the real world CEOs because instead of sitting on his butt and complaining that people are mad that he's forcing employees to use Gen AI, he sees injustice and goes, oh, F that. Okay, see, here's the problem there. This person's already 100% skewed on everything here. Yeah, you don't understand what CEOs do. And I get why there's that disconnect with AI, because AI has some reasons to be fearful for people's jobs, without a doubt there. Don't get me wrong. But once again, you could tell this person's got something up his butt. I mean, they're self-proclaimed communists, for crying out loud. Maybe educate yourself, because if you are a communist and you support that, you really don't know what's going on. Okay? And why are you reading Iron Man? It wouldn't make... Maybe go read Green Arrow. Right? That's okay. And I see 2 stars, 4 stars, so you really do see this all over the place. And this one mentions the Tony Stark Award. It's the beginning of a bold new era for the Armored Avenger, heralded by the excellent creative team. The first issue utilizes a back-to-basics approach, and I agree. Overall, not a bad start, but nothing mind-blowing. Plus, it's pretty obvious that Williamson has based this version of Tony on the post-MCU characterization, and that is true. This is very MCU Tony. So if you like MCU Tony, this will probably be a good fit for you. If you don't, it does skew more that way. But more it does if you've read your old classic Iron Man. He was a playboy. He was this, so it makes more sense. But that's my weekly review. I want to know from you. Let me know your thoughts this week on these issues, and please share and let's be kind in the comments. And until next time, keep it frugal.